Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our SwiftUI tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how we can present another view using what's called a sheet in SwiftUI. Now, what is a sheet? Well, a sheet is a type of view that when you present it, it overlays your current view. So for example, in iOS, a common example of a sheet would be in Maps, where you have that bottom sheet in the app where you can see home, other locations you've saved, any recent locations, stuff like that, and you can adjust you can move it upwards, move it downwards, stuff like that. Other examples would be in Mail, when you compose a new email, and it'll pop up a sheet with all the different fields that you need to compose a new email. So that's kind of that's kind of a real world example, really, of what a sheet is. In this video, what we're going to do is we are going to present a sheet based on a location that we have in a list, and we'll display a location view in that sheet. Now, the details of the location view aren't exactly important, because when we have this location view, it'll be using a map, and we haven't covered how to use map yet, how to integrate with MapKit. So that is not something you need to worry about right now, but it is a practical part of the example, hence why I created that code ahead of time. All right, so let's get started by taking a look at the starter app that we have right now. Right now, I have a list, and this list has a bunch of locations in it, 4 national park locations and 4 monument locations. So we have 8 in total. And what we want to happen is when the user either clicks on a specific item in a context menu or performs an action with a swipe action, we want to display a sheet that has our location view inside of it. All right, so inside of Xcode here, I have my location cell. It is a pretty simple SwiftUI view. It's just an H stack with an image that has an SF symbol, and we're configuring that SF symbol. And then next to our SF symbol, we have the name of the location. And that's it. And attached to our H stack, we have our context menu and our swipe action modifier. So it's nothing that we haven't covered before. Now, to start with, in order to create a sheet, we need a Boolean value to indicate whether or not to display the sheet. So above the body of our view, we need a variable marked as @state. So @state private var, and this variable is going to be called isPresented bool equals false, because for now we don't want the sheet to be shown at the moment. We only want the sheet to be shown. When we ask for it. Now, inside of the buttons, like the button actions for our context menu and swipe actions, that is where we can toggle this Boolean value. right? All right, so what I'm going to do in here is we're going to say is presented dot toggle. So we're just simply toggling this state from false to true. Then inside the context menu, here, inside of here, we'll also say is presented dot toggle, like that. Perfect. Now that we have our toggling out of the way, let's create a sheet. So at the bottom of our view here, at the bottom of our H stack where we have our context menu and our swipe actions, we can go ahead and do a dot sheet, and this is going to take in a Boolean binding for is presented, and then content that we want to show. And optionally, we can provide a closure for something we want to happen when the sheet is dismissed using the onDismiss parameter there. We're not going to use that here, but I just wanted you to know that that does exist, and you can include that after your isPresented binding to define what you want to happen when the sheet is dismissed if you need something to happen when it's dismissed. So we'll say is presented, $ is presented, and then we need to give it some content. And so inside of this sheet, we're going to say location view location view, and this is going to take in our location, so location like that. Now there's one last thing that I want to do here. So we'll jump to our definition here. You can see this is our location view. Again, there's not much here that you need to worry about. But what we're going to do inside of location view is we are going to add a button to this view that when it's pressed, we will dismiss our sheet. All right? So how do we do this? Well, there are two ways that we can do this. One is for iOS 15 and above. The other is for iOS 14 and below. If you're on iOS 14 and below, what you're going to need to use, here, let's see. All right, the environment value that you're going to need to use if you want to dismiss our sheet here is presentation mode. So at environment /dot presentation mode var, let's call it presentation mode, like that. And so what this will do is when we reference its wrapped value, and then we call dismiss on its wrapped value, the sheet will dismiss. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the bottom of our view hierarchy here. Or at least we'll go into the body here. We'll go into our map. We'll have a VStack with our map here. There we go. And in our VStack, we'll then add a button with dismiss as its label. Relatively simple here. Now, inside of the action closure of this button, we'll say presentation mode dot dismiss. Right? Or rather, presentation mode dot wrapped value dot dismiss. There we go. Save it. Let's run our code now. We have a successful build. So here we are again. Let's go ahead and say, let's say Mount Rushmore. I can click Show Map. And here is our sheet. You can see we have a map there with a red balloon denoting where the actual landmark that we wanted is. And then we have a button with the title of dismiss. Go ahead and click that button. And now the sheet dismisses. Now, what does this look like on iOS? Well, let's go ahead and take a look in the simulator. So inside of Xcode, I'm going to go into the toolbar here. I'm going to go into our run destinations. We'll run this in the 16 Pro Max simulator. All right, we have a successful build. Kind of let the simulator do its thing. All right. It's got to do its thing here. It's loading. All right, so here's our list of locations. Let's use Washington Monument this time. Or even Statue of Liberty or something, right? So Statue of Liberty. We'll show map. And there is our map with a red balloon denoting where the Statue of Liberty is on the map. And then when we hit dismiss, the sheet goes away. Precisely how we expected. Now, keep in mind that this presentation mode environment value should not be used from iOS 15 onward, because there's a new environment key that Apple recommends you use instead. So if we go back into Xcode, we can modify our code here just slightly. In our location view, where we have our @environment value here, we can remove this and say @environment \dot dismiss. And we'll call it dismiss. All right, so the dismiss environment value or environment key is a new key that was added in iOS 15 to replace presentation mode. So you can use this to dismiss sheets, alerts, any kind of modal view. You can use this to dismiss them. So we can go down to the bottom of our location view. And instead of presentation mode.wrappedValue.dismiss, we can simply say dismiss and call it like a method, like that. When we run our code, we have a successful build. We are inside of our app now. Let's say let's say Yosemite National Park. We want to show the map. And you can see there's our sheet with our map. We can hit the dismiss button and the sheet goes away. So inside of our run destinations here, I can go into the Mac destination, run it. The app's got to load here. Let's say Grand Canyon National Park. And we'll say show map. There's our map. And we can hit dismiss. And there goes the sheet. And we're back to our list of locations. All right. Now, there are other initializers for sheet, but I just wanted to show you the most bare bones basic sheet that you can use in your apps with SwiftUI. And really, that just about does it. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.